Alrighty, hello and welcome to HistoryGrave, a podcast where we talk about history, true crime, or anything else that we found interesting. My name is Kate.
My name is Melissa.
And this week we are talking about the Sodder family fire. Do you know anything about this case?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, lovely. I've watched the BuzzFeed Unsolved and I wrote this case file, and that's all.
Fantastic.
All right, so I got pretty much all of my information from the Smithsonian website, and apparently the Smithsonian was, actually actively involved in this case, so I trust them.
I mean, you don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah.
You kind of got to at this point.
I mean, there were other sources, but, they seemed the most credible.
It's the Smithsonian.
It's the Smithsonian.
You got to at this point.
Yeah. They were the first result, so, of course.
Yeah, I mean...
On Christmas Eve, 1945, in Fayetteville, West Virginia, the Sodder family went to bed as per usual. Jenny, George, Marion, Sylvia, John, George Jr., Maurice, Martha, Louis, maybe Louis, I don't know, Jenny Jr., and Betty figured this Christmas would be just like the year before. Tragically, around 1 a.m., the family home went up in flames. The father, George, attempted to make sure all the children had gotten to safety. He knew Sylvia, John, Marion, and George Jr. had made it out of the house as he had seen them before he broke back into the house through a window. The bedrooms that the other 5 children would be in were up a staircase that had been fully engulfed in flames. He attempted to reach them through an outside window, but found his ladder missing. His 2 coal trucks, which would have allowed him to reach the window, suddenly would not start. Because of all the weather of that winter, all of the water in a nearby barrel was frozen and could not be used to put out some of the flames and save the children. Marion, one of the older daughters, ran to a nearby neighbor's house to call the fire department, but couldn't get an operator to answer the phone. Another neighbor saw the blaze from a tavern in town and also attempted to call for help, but could not get an operator to answer either. The neighbor tracked down the fire chief in town, who began a phone tree to reach as many firefighters as possible to respond. So that's when the fire chief calls a firefighter, and they call another firefighter, and they call another... Yeah. All that bullshit. Though only 2.5 miles away, it took until 8 a.m. for the fire department to reach the Sodder home, which had since been reduced to smoldering ash. The family assumed that the 5 children who hadn't made it out were dead, and the coroner filed their death certificates under suffocation or fire. However, in the ash of the fire, no one could find the remains of the 5 children. The fire chief had suggested that the fire may have been hot enough to completely cremate the bodies, but the family still wondered if the children were alive. As the family preserved the spot where the house stood as a memorial, they began to piece together some suspicious events leading up to the fire. Firstly, a man had wandered in asking for hauling work, and after roaming around the Sodder property, he said the 2 fuse boxes on the house would cause a fire. George Sodder found this strange, as a local power company had posited that that it was in fine shape. So pretty much, this weird new dude comes into town and is and goes to the Sodder family, hey, you got any work I can do hauling shit? And they're like, no.
No,
and
he just lost everything in the fire.
No, this was before the fire.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, that's gonna start a fire. And George is like, that's strange.
That's suspicious.
Because the electrician's company just said that it was fine.
Yeah, I think I would trust the professionals more than I would a new guy.
Yeah, just a random guy wandering into town.
Why would he even say that?
I don't know.
What was the point?
I don't know. Later, a man came to try and sell the family life insurance, and when George refused, he became irate, saying, and I quote, "Your goddamn house is going up in smoke and your children are going to be destroyed. You're going to be paid for the dirty remarks you have been making about Mussolini." George was an outspoken man with strong opinions against the Italian dictator, but he did not take the man's threats seriously. Finally, a few of the older boys had noticed a strange man watching the younger siblings on their way home from school. On the night of the fire, Jenny received a strange phone call that she assumed had been a wrong number and went to bed. She woke up to a sharp bang on the roof and a rolling noise, but quickly fell back asleep. About an hour later, she awoke again to heavy smoke rolling into her room. You made a funny face when I said that.
Okay, I had to go through it and figure out, like, if I were to have woken up to a sharp bang on the roof and a rolling noise, I would have woken up and I would have, like, investigated, you know? And then I thought, this woman has how many children?
9.
So at that point, if you have 9 kids, you're not going to question any sounds that happen in the house.
Mm-mm.
You're just
Actually, they had 10 kids. One of them was off in the army.
Okay. That's, I mean...
Yeah.
But you hear... For me, I would have investigated, but for her, who has 9 kids in the house, I just assumed it's one of them being dumb.
Yeah. After a few simple experiments on animal bones, Jenny concluded that there should have been some sort of remnants from the other children. Fire hot enough to cremate a human had to burn at around 2,000 degrees for 2 hours, according to a local crematorium. Since the house burned in 45 minutes, and many of the appliances from the house were intact and identifiable, things seemed to be extremely strange. Along with this, a repairman told the Sodders that their lines had been cut, not burned, and if the fire had been from faulty wiring, the power would have died. But all the lights in the lower portion of the house had still been on during the fire. A witness came forward, having seen a man hauling supplies that would have been needed to remove an engine from a truck, which could explain why the coal trucks wouldn't start. When visiting the site, Jenny Jr. found a hard rubber object in the yard. Some of the other children had recalled hearing a thud on the roof, and George concluded that it was a napalm pineapple bomb, like used in warfare. People began to report having seen the children, one having seen them in a passing car while the fire was still going. Another, from a tourist shop between Charleston and Fayetteville, claimed to have served them breakfast. Another report said that they had seen them at a hotel with 2 men and 2 women, all of Italian descent, and all of whom had been very aggressive and would not allow the people to talk to the children. The parents attempted to seek help from the FBI, but they were told they could not get involved without permission from local authorities, which had been denied. That is false. That is false. The FBI is allowed to come in and say, this is now a matter of this, like, someone asked us to come in, and this is a matter of, like, high-level problem, like, 5 children are missing. So this is, like, a high enough level. The FBI literally could have come in and said, look, you guys don't have a big enough task force to handle this.
Yeah, I mean...
Like, they literally could have just done that, and then so that was a fucking lie. The family then hired a private investigator who found out that the insurance salesman who had threatened the family was a part of the committee that deemed the fire accidental, and had also heard that the fire chief had a secret. Allegedly, the chief had found a heart and buried it in a box on the property. When the box was exhumed, it was determined to hold a beef liver, not a human heart.
Okay.
As the years passed, more tips and sightings came in. George Sodder had been sure he saw a picture of his daughter in a newspaper from New York, but the parents of the girl refused to talk to him. A pathologist brought in by the family had found 4 vertebrates that, when sent to the Smithsonian Museum for testing, showed signs of having been from a 16 to 17-year-old male. This did not line up with the oldest missing Sodder, who was 14 at the time of the fire. The Smithsonian also posited that because of the short amount of time that the house had been burned, there would be mostly full skeletons found at the site. At this point, most people considered the case closed and finding the children a lost hope, but George and Jenny continued looking. They put up a billboard and passed out flyers offering a reward for anyone who had information. Once again, tips began to come in, and George followed every single one to no avail. In 1968, Jenny was sent a letter postmarked from Kentucky, but with no return address. That contained a photo labeled to be Louis Sodder. The resemblance was incredible to the family traits that Louis had what Louis had looked like the night of the fire, except incredibly older. They sent a private detective to investigate this lead, but never heard from him again. Rather than publish the letter or the postmarked town out of fear for their son's well-being, they updated the billboard that they had put up with a new photo of him. The family continued to search for their missing children and siblings. George passed in 1968 and Jenny in 1989. When Jenny Sodder passed, the billboard searching for the children was taken down, but the next generation of the family continues to investigate with theories of their own. These theories range far and wide, but almost always hope that the other siblings were alive and well, and had only kept from contacting their family to keep them safe. Sylvia Sodder, the youngest Sodder child, is now 77 and still searches for her missing siblings with the help of her children and grandchildren. She believes that they are still alive, and the memory of that night forms her first major memory, having only been 2 at the time of the fire.
So, one of them could technically, well, but they would be dead now, wouldn't they? Majority of them. If she was 2, she was the youngest.
Yeah.
Chances are they're more likely dead.
Yeah, most of the older siblings would be dead. There were a few younger siblings who were under 10 who had gone missing. They might still be alive, but they would be incredibly old, possibly senile, probably Alzheimer's, so they wouldn't remember.
Yeah, there's no... Also, it's kind of suspicious. Also, okay, first thing I thought of while hearing that. What was the Italian dictator?
Mussolini?
Yeah, Mussolini. Why would they come to America?
Oh, because he was very outspoken, and at the time, if you spoke against Mussolini, you were considered like a traitor.
But he wasn't Italian.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so he wouldn't.
Yeah, they're all Italian.
That's
Jenny
so
and George were both Italian, which means all the kids are 100% Italian.
But it's strange that they came to America, and even in America, they can't speak out against a dictator.
Yeah.
Which
that's just Italy, to be completely honest.
At the time.
Yeah. Italy even now is super intense about like your lineage and like being from Italy. It's a very big pride point how much Italian you are. Like, I'm 1/8 Italian, so that's like a big pride point when you discuss with other Italian folks. So it's a big thing. It's a big thing to be Italian, to be majorly Italian, and things like that. So, and that's now. In the past, it was it was a lot worse. It was a lot more intense. So the idea of this Italian man moving to America, marrying an Italian woman, or rather, his family immigrated to America, marrying an Italian woman, had a bunch of kids, and he's speaking out against the Italian dictator. He's a traitor. He's a traitor. It's weird. I'm not even going to try to say it's not. It's weird.
It is strange. Also, the fact that they didn't even try to, like, plant bodies in the house. They just took the kids. Well, theoretically, they took the kids.
Theoretically, someone took the kids.
Yeah. Not, can't say for sure.
Yeah.
But, come on.
Come on, man.
Come on.
You did a really bad job there. Now you just created a mystery.
Yeah.
That some idiots in college are going to try to solve it on.
We're not even trying to solve
in
it.
80 years. Well, there are definitely probably college
They're definitely
crime students.
Oh yeah, someone's still trying to solve it, but like unless you're there, you can't really do much.
Yeah.
You can only do with what you already have, which isn't much. Just by
isn't
going
a lot.
this.
It's not. You have to be in Fayetteville, West Virginia,
which I don't want to be in. But no offense, Fayetteville, West Virginia. I'm good. I'm good. So technically speaking, Louis should be in Kentucky.
Louis should be dead in Kentucky.
Oh, he should be somewhere in Kentucky.
He was 14 in 1945.
Yeah, Mans is dead.
Mans is dead.
Mans is dead. He ain't coming back this time.
Like,
I say this time like
this time like he did come back.
He did. Technically speaking, he's supposed to be dead. He is supposed to be dead in 1945.
Well. Okay, so he was born in 1931, so...
There are people still alive. Clint Eastwood, man.
He would be 90 years old.
The Queen of England. That woman is as old as the earth.
That woman has the best health care on the planet.
Yeah, she also is as old as the earth. She was here.
Yeah, she's probably immortal.
She is.
Louis Sodder, not immortal.
Not immortal. Dead. Probably more than likely.
Dead. They're still trying to find the siblings. The oldest of the siblings, the oldest of the siblings who had been kidnapped would be 90 now.
They could still be alive. I don't think they are.
No.
Something tells me that they just aren't. But
Something tells me they haven't been alive since 1945.
you think they're dead?
I think they got killed.
In which way? In the fire, or do you think they were like shot?
I think they were kidnapped by Italian
Mafia,
by the mafia. And I think they were killed at an alternate location.
That's the only way it works.
Yeah. They took him to a secondary location.
One of them was in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Which is no, wait, hold on. He was alive long enough to send a postcard to his mother.
No, it was unmarked.
Theoretically.
It was unmarked. It was just a picture of him marked Louis Sodder.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be him. But, okay.
It might not be him. It's probably not him.
Someone messing with this poor family.
This poor family.
Like, they lost half of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they don't know if it's in a fire, someone came and got them. They don't know what's going on.
They don't know what happened. They just know their kids are gone. It sucks, man.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Can you imagine? Imagine you have a crap ton of siblings. And I say, like, I don't want to say 10 specifically, just a bunch.
Yeah.
And you wake up one morning, basically night.
You wake up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you wake up in the middle of the night. Half of them are just either dead or missing.
Yeah.
And you don't know. You don't know. Like, and they're just gone. They're just gone.
Yeah.
Like, what would you do?
It would not be good. Would not be fun.
Well, of course, they're dead or missing.
Yeah.
They're still not with you. You're still going to grieve them.
Yeah.
And it's not like grieving one person. You're grieving, like, half your family.
Yeah. Like, grieving one person in my family is enough. Grieving
almost half of them.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, when you started to like say that, I thought you were gonna say, let's say you had 10 kids, and I was about to I was gonna go,
you murdered them.
And I was about to be like, immediately be like, unrealistic.
No. I'm saying you're one of their siblings, because I was taking it in the youngest girls.
Sylvia.
Yeah, in Sylvia's view. Because at the same time, I think it's kind of wild that she's still looking for them. Also, the fact that she can still remember them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that that's her biggest memory.
Yeah. The fire.
Her first big memory.
Is, yeah. And, like, hearing the screams. Because that's something that was mentioned, is that her first big memory is of the fire and of her father, like, bleeding because he had a cut on his arm and like, screaming and crying out.
Yeah.
That's oh boy.
I don't know why it just made me remember that.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you did, keep an eye out for our next one. We don't know what this one's going to be about. We don't know what the next one's going to be about. But just keep an eye out for our next one. We will definitely post and promote about it, or at least I will.
We'll try.
We'll try. And